Have you ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly capture a woman's attention while others struggle, no matter how hard they try? It can feel unfair, even confusing, to watch someone else walk into a room and instantly spark interest while you remain unnoticed. But here's the truth that most people never realize. Attraction isn't some fixed choice that a woman makes once and for all. It isn't carved into stone. Attraction is an emotional experience, and emotions can shift when the right triggers are activated. That means no matter how she sees you now, it can change, and it can change in your favor. The mistake many men make is believing that women are born either interested or uninterested, and nothing can alter that. That belief keeps them stuck, desperate, and powerless. But psychology shows us something completely different. Human attraction is flexible. It moves, it grows, and it reshapes itself depending on how someone makes us feel. Think about it. Haven't you ever met someone who didn't impress you at first, but over time their confidence, their energy, and their presence completely transformed the way you looked at them? That's the hidden truth about attraction. It's not about starting perfect. It's about creating a powerful emotional shift. This is where your real advantage lies. You don't need to look like a celebrity. You don't need to be rich, and you don't need to act like someone you're not. What matters is how you affect her inner world. Every woman is wired to respond to certain signals: confidence, presence, mystery, and self-respect. When those signals are missing, she feels nothing. But when those signals are strong, she begins to feel a pull she can't explain. And once that pull starts, her perception of you begins to change, even if she wasn't interested before. Imagine the freedom of no longer begging for attention or feeling invisible. Imagine replacing that with the calm certainty that you know how to generate attraction naturally. The shift is not about chasing or convincing. It's about becoming the type of man who triggers deep emotional responses. When you do this, you stop fighting for scraps of approval and instead begin to attract genuine desire. That is the real power, and it is already within your reach. The reason you should stay with me through this entire journey is because what you're about to discover can reshape not only how women see you, but also how you see yourself. These principles don't just make you attractive, they make you magnetic in every part of life. By the end, you'll understand exactly how to move from overlooked to desired, from ignored to unforgettable. And the reward is more than just her attention. It is the unshakable confidence of knowing you can create attraction with authenticity, without pretending, and without fear. That is the beginning of becoming unstoppable. Confidence is the invisible force that draws people in before a single word is spoken. It is not about having perfect looks or an impressive status. It is about the energy you carry, the way you walk into a space, and the certainty that radiates from within you. When a man believes in himself, others naturally believe in him too. Women are especially sensitive to this signal because confidence communicates safety, stability, and strength. Without saying a word, your energy tells her whether you are someone she can trust, someone she can follow, and someone she should desire. The problem most men face is that they confuse confidence with arrogance. Arrogance pushes people away, but confidence is calm, grounded, and magnetic. It is not loud or showy. It is quiet power. It is the ability to stand tall in who you are without needing anyone's approval. This kind of confidence does not shout, it whispers, and yet its voice is heard louder than anything else in the room. It tells her you are comfortable in your own skin. It tells her you do not need her validation, but you welcome her presence. That combination is irresistible. Confidence is not something you fake. When you try to act confident without truly feeling it, it comes across as fragile and forced. Real confidence grows from self-respect, from knowing your worth, from embracing your strengths and your flaws without apology. It is built every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you face fear and move forward anyway, every time you refuse to shrink in the face of challenge. Each of these moments plants seeds of certainty inside you, and those seeds blossom into the aura that makes people want to be around you. Think about how powerful this truly is. A man who carries genuine confidence doesn't need to chase. He doesn't beg for attention or validation. Instead, he creates a gravitational pull. People lean in. They notice him, not because he demands it, but because his energy makes them curious. For a woman, this is the first and strongest sign that you are different. You are not trying to force her attraction. You are giving her a reason to feel it naturally. And here is the most empowering truth. Confidence is not gifted to a chosen few. It is not something you are either born with or doomed to live without. Confidence is built, step by step, through your choices, your habits, and your mindset. The more you strengthen it, the more attractive you become. When you carry confidence, you stop asking, will she want me? And instead embody the certainty that she should. That shift is everything. It is the foundation of desire, the beginning of transformation, and the key to becoming unforgettable in her eyes. Looks may turn a head for a moment, but emotions hold the power to keep it turned. Attraction rooted only in appearance is shallow, fragile, and easily replaced. What truly matters, what makes someone unforgettable, is the way you make another person feel. Women may notice your face, your body, or your style, but what lingers long after those first impressions fade is the emotional impact you leave behind. That impact is what shapes her perception of you, often more powerfully than anything physical ever could. Every interaction you have is an opportunity to create emotional resonance. When you make her laugh, her brain anchors that joy to you. When you spark curiosity, she begins to associate you with excitement and possibility. When you bring calmness and security, she begins to feel safe in your presence. These emotions are not random. They are the foundation of attraction. The human mind naturally connects feelings to the people who trigger them. This is why someone who didn't catch your attention at first can suddenly seem irresistible once they awaken powerful emotions inside you. The man who understands this never relies solely on his looks. He knows that emotions are the true language of attraction, and he speaks that language fluently. He listens in a way that makes her feel seen. He responds in a way that makes her feel valued. He creates moments that spark joy, comfort, or intrigue. And in doing so, he rewires her associations until his presence becomes a source of energy she craves again and again. This is where real transformation happens. If you have ever felt invisible or overlooked, it is not because you lack value. It is because you have not yet mastered the art of creating emotional impact. The moment you begin to shape how she feels when she is around you, everything changes. You shift from being someone she forgets to being someone she cannot stop thinking about. She may not even be able to explain why, but she will feel it deeply, because emotions bypass logic. They strike at the core of desire. The beauty of this truth is that it puts the power back in your hands. You cannot control your genetics or your natural features, but you can control the energy you bring into every interaction. You can choose to become the man who sparks emotions that stay long after the conversation ends. That choice makes you unforgettable. That choice turns initial indifference into growing curiosity. That choice can transform a lack of interest into undeniable desire. Never underestimate the force of emotional impact. Looks may open the door, but emotions build the connection that keeps it wide open. When you master this, you stop worrying about surface-level attraction and begin creating bonds that run deeper, last longer, and feel stronger than anything appearance alone could ever provide. Desire does not grow in comfort alone. It thrives in the space between closeness and uncertainty. When everything about you is predictable, when your attention is given away too easily, attraction begins to fade. The mind values what feels scarce, and the heart chases what feels slightly out of reach. This is why mystery is powerful. It is not about playing games or pretending to be someone you are not. It is about understanding that desire is strongest when there is something to discover, when not every answer is revealed at once, when she feels the excitement of unfolding layers within you. If you are always available, always eager, always giving without limit, you remove the tension that fuels attraction. She may appreciate the attention, but appreciation is not desire. To awaken desire, you must carry yourself in a way that suggests depth, a life beyond her, a world she has not yet entered but wants to. This is not about withholding affection, but about balancing warmth with a sense of self that cannot be fully captured in one encounter. That balance creates an irresistible pull. Challenge is another ingredient that ignites attraction. When a woman feels she has to earn your attention, your validation becomes more meaningful. The human mind naturally values what is not handed out carelessly. When you show standards, when you hold yourself with quiet pride, she recognizes that your interest is not cheap. This recognition awakens her competitive instincts. She wants to win what not everyone can have. And in that pursuit, her desire for you begins to grow stronger. The most magnetic men are those who can combine openness with just enough unpredictability to keep her curious. They smile, they connect, they give, but they do not give it all away at once. They are consistent in their respect, yet slightly unpredictable in their energy. That unpredictability creates sparks, because the brain craves novelty. It keeps her mind engaged, wondering what will happen next, eager to experience more. Mystery and challenge are not about distance, they are about depth. You do not need to act cold or detached, you simply need to reveal yourself piece by piece, allowing her to feel the thrill of discovery. Every layer she uncovers makes her more invested. Every moment of curiosity makes her feel more drawn in. What begins as interest grows into desire, because desire is fueled by pursuit. When you carry mystery and body challenge, you transform the way she experiences you. You become someone she cannot easily define, someone she cannot simply place in a box and move past. You become the man she thinks about when she is alone, the man who keeps her guessing, the man who awakens emotions she cannot ignore. That is how attraction deepens, not through instant certainty, but through the tension that makes her want more of you every time she is near. True connection is not built on the words you speak, but on the presence you bring. In a world where most people are distracted, divided, and restless, the man who can be fully present stands out as rare and unforgettable. Presence is more than eye contact or nodding along. It is the ability to quiet your own noise, to give your complete focus to the person in front of you, and to listen with intent rather than waiting for your turn to talk. When you do this, she feels something almost no one else gives her, the experience of being truly seen. Presence has the power to disarm walls and dissolve resistance. When she senses you are genuinely paying attention, her defenses drop. She feels valued without you needing to prove anything. The brain responds to this kind of attention with warmth, releasing the chemicals that deepen trust and connection. And trust is one of the strongest bridges to attraction. A woman may be drawn to looks for a moment, but she bonds with the man who makes her feel understood. That bond is the seed of desire, because it touches her on an emotional level that appearance alone cannot reach. Listening is not weakness, it is strength. Most men try to impress by speaking more, by showing off knowledge, or by steering every conversation toward themselves. But the man who listens creates a different energy. He reflects her words back in a way that shows he actually cares. He asks questions that go deeper than the surface. He does not rush to fix or to prove. Instead, he allows silence when needed, giving her space to open up fully. In that space, she begins to associate him with safety. And safety is one of the strongest precursors to attraction, because it allows her to relax into her feminine energy and connect more deeply. Being present also means being in tune with yourself. If you are lost in anxiety, overthinking, or constantly rehearsing what to say next, she feels the disconnect. But when you are centered, calm, and confident, that state transfers to her. Presence is contagious. Your calm becomes her calm. Your focus becomes her focus. Your energy becomes the energy she remembers. And the more she feels that energy, the more she craves it, because it elevates her experience every time she is with you. The truth is, most men underestimate how powerful presence really is. They chase after external displays when the real magnetism lies in the way they make her feel when she speaks. If you can master presence, you create an emotional bond that cannot be ignored. You transform simple moments into unforgettable experiences. And when she reflects later on why she feels drawn to you, she may not even point to your words or actions. She will remember the way she felt seen, the way she felt heard, and the way she felt alive in your presence. You cannot expect anyone to respect you if you do not respect yourself first. Attraction cannot survive without respect, and respect begins with the standards you set for your own life. When you tolerate behavior that devalues you, when you accept less than what you deserve, you silently tell the world that you are not worth more. A woman feels this immediately. She can sense whether you carry boundaries or whether you bend and break at the slightest push. And nothing kills attraction faster than weakness disguised as kindness. Self-respect is not about being harsh or rigid. It is about valuing yourself enough to walk away from situations that do not align with your worth. When you do this, you send a powerful signal. You show that your time, your energy, and your attention are valuable resources, not gifts to be handed out to anyone who asks. This quiet strength makes others see you differently. They recognize that winning your focus is a privilege, not a guarantee. For a woman, this instantly changes the dynamic. She begins to measure her own actions, wondering if she has done enough to deserve your presence. That shift alone creates attraction, because people chase what they respect. Boundaries are the proof of self-respect. Without them, you may think you are being generous, but in reality, you are teaching others to take you for granted. When you clearly define what is acceptable and what is not, you earn trust. She may not always agree with your limits, but she will feel the strength behind them. And strength is deeply attractive. It communicates that you are not controlled by fear of losing her. You are guided by the value you place on yourself. That kind of confidence cannot be faked, and it cannot be ignored. Every time you honor your standards, you grow more magnetic. Every time you choose dignity over desperation, your presence becomes more powerful. It is not about pushing people away. It is about standing tall enough that only those who truly value you remain close. This makes your energy rare, And what is rare is always desired. Women instinctively feel drawn to the man who respects himself because his value does not depend on their approval. He is complete on his own, and that wholeness pulls them closer. When you carry self-respect, you transform how you show up. You no longer beg for attention because you know your worth is not negotiable. You no longer fear rejection because you understand that anyone who cannot recognize your value does not deserve your energy. And in that moment, something powerful happens. She begins to respect you too. Respect turns into admiration, and admiration becomes desire. This is the path from overlooked to unforgettable, from tolerated to truly wanted. The man who respects himself will always be the man others cannot resist. Attraction deepens when you step into the role of emotional leadership. This does not mean control, force, or domination. It means guiding the energy of the moment with certainty and direction. Most people drift through interactions waiting to see what happens, hoping for connection instead of creating it. But the man who leads emotionally is different. He sets the tone. He creates the atmosphere. He moves with intention, and in doing so, he makes others feel secure, engaged, and alive. When you guide an interaction, she no longer has to carry the weight of deciding how things unfold. She relaxes because she senses that you know where you are going. That sense of direction builds trust, and trust fuels attraction. A woman wants to feel she can let go in your presence, that you have the strength to hold the space and the awareness to shape the energy. When you bring certainty, she feels safe. When you bring excitement, she feels alive. When you bring calm, she feels grounded. You decide the emotional frame and she steps into it. Emotional leadership is not about speaking the loudest or demanding attention. It is about creating a vibe strong enough that others naturally follow it. When you approach life with clarity, with purpose, and with composure, you draw people into your energy. They mirror your state. If you are anxious, they feel uneasy. If you are relaxed and confident, they feel the same. This is the subtle power of leadership. You influence emotions without needing to force them. She will not remember every word you say, but she will remember the way her emotions shifted because of your presence. To embody this, you must first master your own state. You cannot lead her into calm if you are consumed by doubt. You cannot guide her into excitement if you carry only hesitation. Leadership begins within, with the discipline to center yourself no matter what is happening outside. When you can ground your emotions, you instantly elevate hers. And the more consistently you do this, the more irresistible you become. She begins to associate you with transformation. Time with you feels different than time with anyone else. This is what separates men who are easily forgotten from those who leave a lasting impression. The forgotten ones wait for others to create the mood, while the unforgettable ones shape it themselves. They understand that people crave direction, not chaos. They understand that attraction blooms in environments where emotions are guided toward connection. By stepping into this role, you give her something rare, the freedom to let go, to feel deeply, and to follow your lead without resistance. The man who leads emotionally is the man who stays in her mind. He is the one who shifts her state, who makes her feel safe yet excited, calm yet alive. That impact is not easily replaced, and it becomes the foundation of desire. Leadership turns interest into longing and connection into passion. It is the mark of a man she cannot forget. Purpose is the ultimate force that sets a man apart. Women are drawn not to desperation or neediness, but to vision, drive, and direction. A man with purpose is magnetic because he carries a life that exists beyond seeking approval. He is occupied with goals, growth, and meaningful action, and that commitment signals strength, stability, and passion. Purpose is visible in the way he talks, the way he moves, and the way he carries himself. It communicates that he is not dependent on anyone else for validation, and that independence is profoundly attractive. When a man is focused on building his life, he emits a quiet confidence that cannot be faked. This is not about being busy or distracted. It is about prioritizing growth, discipline, and meaningful pursuits. Women intuitively sense this. They can feel whether a man is creating value in the world, whether he is chasing fleeting pleasures or building a life of substance. Purpose transforms perception. It makes her see you not just as another person in her orbit, but as someone rare, someone capable, someone worth investing attention and energy in. Purpose also generates a sense of momentum. A man with a mission moves through the world with clarity and determination, and people instinctively gravitate toward that energy. It is magnetic because it feels alive. It makes interactions charged with significance because she can sense that your time and energy are valuable. This shifts the dynamic entirely. She no longer has the power to make you chase. Instead, she begins to recognize that being part of your life is a privilege, something that must be earned and appreciated. That recognition ignites desire at a deep psychological level, because humans are wired to value what is scarce and meaningful. Living with purpose also fortifies emotional strength. When you are committed to something greater than yourself, rejection loses its sting. You do not crumble when faced with disinterest because your sense of self and direction comes from your own achievements, not from someone else's validation. That independence is magnetic. She feels the difference instinctively. She notices the man who is unwavering, who is anchored in meaning, who does not bend to please but continues moving forward regardless. That is how desire grows, through the stability and certainty that purpose provides. The most compelling men are those who balance ambition with presence. They are focused yet fully available in the moment. They carry energy that excites, yet stability that comforts. Purpose is not a surface-level quality. It is a living, breathing force that shapes every choice, every interaction, every word. When a woman senses this, attraction moves from curiosity to longing. She wants to witness your journey, to feel the energy you create, and to be drawn into your orbits. A man who embodies purpose becomes irresistible because he demonstrates that life with him is not ordinary. It is expansive, meaningful, and charged with possibility. He does not seek to impress through empty gestures or superficial charm. He impresses through the substance of his life, the clarity of his vision, and the power of his forward motion. Purpose is the force that transforms interest into admiration, admiration into desire, and desire into connection that cannot be ignored. Transformation is not created by chance. It is forged through deliberate internal change. A man who was once overlooked, dismissed, or underestimated can shift perception entirely by evolving his confidence, presence, emotional leadership, self-respect, and purpose. This change begins within, with a commitment to raise your energy, your mindset, and your standards. When you take responsibility for who you are and how you show up, you stop waiting for external validation and start generating it naturally from your own transformation. That shift is magnetic because people respond to energy that is authentic, consistent, and unstoppable. The difference between being ignored and being desired lies in the subtle signals you transmit every day. Your energy communicates more than your words ever could. Every choice you make, every action you take, every boundary you set either builds attraction or diminishes it. A man who transforms himself becomes someone she cannot ignore because he operates from a space of power rather than neediness. He has learned that desire is earned through alignment with his own value, not through chasing attention or seeking approval. That realization changes everything. Internal transformation rewires perception. When you step fully into your confidence, your presence becomes undeniable. When you cultivate emotional leadership, interactions feel alive and intentional. When you live with purpose, your energy carries momentum that draws people in effortlessly. When self-respect is non-negotiable, others respond with admiration and longing. Each of these elements amplifies the others, creating a composite magnetism that reshapes how she experiences you. What was once indifferent or neutral becomes compelling, irresistible, and captivating. This transformation also rewires your mindset about rejection and interest. You no longer fear disinterest because your worth does not rely on external affirmation. You recognize that attraction is not a finite resource to be begged for. It is a reflection of the energy you cultivate. As you grow, her perception shifts naturally. She notices the man who commands his space, who maintains his boundaries, who inspires through presence, purpose, and emotional energy. That shift in perception is not forced, it is earned. The man who masters himself becomes someone whose absence is felt and whose presence excites. Transformation is not instantaneous, but every step compounds. Each moment you honor your confidence, your presence, your leadership, your purpose, and yourself. Respect reinforces your magnetic energy. The more you grow internally, the more external attention follows. She begins to see you differently because you have changed the very energy you radiate. Her interest is a natural byproduct of your evolution. This is the moment where overlooked becomes desired, where indifference turns into longing, where absence becomes missed, and presence becomes unforgettable. By committing to transformation, you take control of attraction at the deepest level. You no longer rely on chance encounters or fleeting impressions. You create the conditions where desire grows naturally because it is drawn to authenticity, power, and the energy of a man who has mastered himself. Transformation is the ultimate tool. It is what turns possibility into reality, what converts uncertainty into magnetism, and what ensures that even a woman who was not initially interested can no longer resist the man you have become. Becoming the man she cannot resist is not about manipulation or strategy. It is about becoming the version of yourself that naturally inspires desire. Every choice you make, every habit you cultivate, and every boundary you enforce contributes to an energy that is magnetic and unforgettable. When you embody confidence, presence, self-respect, emotional leadership, and purpose simultaneously, you create a force that draws people in effortlessly. She will notice this energy even before she consciously registers why she feels drawn to you. Attraction begins at a level deeper than words. It begins in the energy you radiate and the alignment you maintain with your own value. When you stop chasing and start commanding your own life, you step into a space where desire emerges naturally. She senses a man who does not depend on her attention, whose worth is established independently. That independence is powerful because it signals strength and emotional stability. Women are drawn to men who can hold their own energy without collapsing under pressure or neediness. Your calm certainty becomes the anchor she unconsciously seeks, and your ability to navigate life with purpose and direction becomes irresistible. This is not about forcing attraction. It is about becoming so compelling that interest grows without effort. Every interaction becomes charged with significance when you embody this magnetic energy. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you respond, all communicate strength, clarity, and self-assuredness. She notices the subtle differences in how you carry yourself, the quiet confidence, the balance of warmth and challenge, the energy that makes her feel both safe and alive. Desire is sparked when she feels emotionally engaged, mentally stimulated, and subtly challenged. A man who masters these elements transforms ordinary encounters into moments she cannot forget, moments that linger in her mind and influence how she perceives you long after they pass. What makes you unforgettable is consistency. She begins to see that your presence is reliable yet rare, strong yet approachable, purposeful yet effortless. You no longer bend to meet expectations or overextend to gain approval. Instead, your life operates on your terms, and your interactions are defined by the energy you choose to bring. This combination of autonomy and emotional resonance creates a pull that cannot be ignored. She experiences you as someone exceptional because your internal alignment communicates value far more powerfully than any superficial gesture ever could. The truth is that you already possess the tools to become magnetic. It is a matter of claiming them fully. Confidence, presence, self-respect, emotional leadership, and purpose are not traits reserved for a select few. They are cultivated through deliberate action and consistent internal growth. When you embody these qualities, you stop chasing desire and instead become a source of it. She will no longer be indifferent because your energy signals something rare, valuable, and impossible to resist. You become the man who naturally draws attention, who ignites longing, and who inspires admiration without trying. That is the ultimate transformation, the power every man can claim, and the reason she cannot help but want you. The final element that solidifies irresistible attraction is authenticity. Everything else, confidence, presence, emotional leadership, purpose, self-respect, serves as a foundation, but authenticity is the force that transforms admiration into longing. A woman can sense when a man is pretending, performing, or trying too hard. It is subtle but undeniable. Fake energy creates distance, skepticism, and disinterest. Authenticity, however, radiates a magnetic clarity because it aligns every action, word, and expression with the truth of who you are. It cannot be replicated and it cannot be ignored. Being authentic means showing up fully as yourself, without apologies or masks. It means embracing your strengths and weaknesses equally and presenting your genuine energy in every interaction. When you are authentic, your presence carries certainty because it is grounded in truth. You no longer feel the need to impress, manipulate, or convince anyone to see your worth. She feels this energy immediately, and it sparks curiosity and desire because it is rare. Most people hide behind facades, but the man who is fully himself becomes unforgettable because authenticity communicates confidence at the deepest level. Authenticity also amplifies every other aspect of attraction. Confidence without authenticity can feel hollow. Emotional leadership without authenticity can feel controlling. Purpose without authenticity can feel detached. But when authenticity anchors every quality, your energy becomes coherent, compelling, and magnetic. She senses a man who is aligned internally, whose actions match his words, whose presence reflects a life lived with integrity. That alignment triggers deep psychological responses, trust, admiration, intrigue, and ultimately desire, because humans are wired to respond to coherence and truth in others. When you embody authenticity, you stop chasing validation because you no longer need external approval to define your worth. Your value becomes inherent, self-sustained, and undeniable. This energy is infectious. She experiences a sense of ease, respect, and excitement in your presence because she knows that what she sees is real. Realness eliminates doubt and uncertainty while increasing emotional engagement. The more authentic you are, the stronger the pull becomes, because authenticity is inherently attractive. It is a signal that you are confident enough to be yourself fully, and that creates a sense of security and intrigue that she cannot resist. The ultimate power of authenticity is that it allows desire to emerge naturally without forcing it or manufacturing it. She begins to feel drawn not because of a trick or a tactic, but because of the energy you radiate, the energy of a man who knows himself, values himself, leads emotionally, lives with purpose, and shows up as his true self. That combination creates a resonance that bypasses logic, sparking attraction on a level that is felt, not analyzed. She notices the difference, she feels the impact, and she begins to want what you represent. A rare, confident, grounded, and fully authentic man. When all elements converge, confidence, presence, emotional leadership, self-respect, purpose, and authenticity, you become magnetic beyond effort. Attraction no longer depends on chance, circumstance, or superficiality. You become unforgettable. You become desired. You become the man who commands attention, inspires longing, and evokes deep emotional connection simply by being fully yourself. That is the ultimate transformation. That is the power you hold. That is why even a woman who was once uninterested cannot resist the man who embodies these principles.